Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, where an expert from Google is going to share social media and mobile strategies. My name is Eliana Raggio, and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by Dealeron. And for anyone who isn't familiar with Dealeron, well, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency, best known for our search engine optimization, best-in-class customer service, and our award-winning websites. Recently at NADA, Dealeron received the Best in Show Award for website design from Dealer Marketing Magazine. Dealeron was named the top-rated website provider by Driving Sales in 2012 and 2013. And oh yeah, it's official, Dealeron customers have been winners of the Digital Dealer Website Excellence Awards highly coveted overall winner 4 times in a row. Dealeron's the only website company that can claim that. Dealeron is so committed to lead conversion, optimization, and customer service that we're the only company in the industry to offer a money-back lead guarantee program. So does your website company guarantee you leads? Well, then maybe you should check us out at Dealeron.com. And we have such a great show in store for you today. We're very pleased to have Mike Shea as our presenter today. Mike Shea is a strategic partner manager at Wildfire by Google, a social media marketing software that enables brands to grow, engage, and monetize their social audience. Mike has led the Wildfire channel sales initiative since 2011. In fact, Mike was one of the first 40 employees at Wildfire, where he first served clients in technology operations and marketing strategy. Mike combines his expertise in the Wildfire product and client services with his passion for marketing and communications to drive results for Google's partners. Today, Mike is focused on building a scalable, strategic, and integrated digital solution for partners that cater to SMB advertisers. Since the Google acquisition of Wildfire, Mike has managed several pilots with Google Channel partners with a focus on several premier SMB partners in the automotive industry, and we're very pleased to have him here today. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature located on the corner of your screen to submit them. At the end of the presentation, we'll answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, don't worry, we're going to try and respond to you later today. Also, don't forget, a link to download a copy of this webinar recording is also going to be emailed to you later this afternoon for your reference. And please feel free to share it with friends and colleagues. And guess what? At the conclusion of the webinar, you're going to receive a short survey. So fill it out, because we're always looking for great feedback from our audience. And today, we're going to randomly select a couple of people from all the completed surveys to also win some Google prizes. So let's get started. Today's expert from Google is going to share social media and mobile strategies. It's going to be a good one. Mike Shea, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and I always get excited when we do a webinar with one of you from Google. You have the best, most up-to-date, honestly, there's no better place to get information from than you guys over at Google. So thank you so much for doing this today, and thank you so much for being here and sharing your expertise with our audience today. I'm looking forward to seeing what you have to say, and we're all interested to find out what we're going to be learning about today. So Mike, take it away. What are we going to be hearing about?
For sure. Thanks so much for having me. Very excited to be doing the webinar, and thank you everybody that was able to make it today, especially on July 3rd. Very excited to have you. Today we are going to be learning about a few different things. We're going to jump into the changing nature of the customer journey, followed by how social and mobile work together and influence a auto buyer's journey throughout the process from beginning to end. We're going to learn about 3 takeaways for auto dealers within social media, some strategies that you can put forward, as well as an 8-step playbook for Google+ toward the end, followed by some questions. So keep the questions. Eliana, I know, will be gathering them, so definitely going to have some time for some fun questions at the end.
Fantastic. Oh, this all sounds great, great, great. Okay, well, let's get started.
All right, perfect. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the changing nature of that customer journey. So right now, when going out to make an auto purchase, in 2012, users are looking at about 18.2 sources prior to the purchase, which is quite a bit different than what they were able to do pre-digital age. Before, they were basically getting information from the dealership, which I'll jump into in just a second. But right now, 18.2 sources. So that's going to include things like reviews, social networks, talking to friends on social networks, and 1/5 of overall purchase decisions are being influenced by social media, which is the most in any other industry. So the car buying industry is #1 when it comes to social media influence toward that purchase, which is huge. And really, overall, what this is telling you is that you have an increased buyer knowledge. So people are a lot more confident in themselves, a lot more understanding of the products that you're selling, and they really just want to get there, finalize which car that they want to buy, and then they go ahead and take that test drive and ultimately make that purchase. So this is what car shopping used to look like. Basically, everything starts with that stimulus, whether the person knows that they already want to have a car, if they see an ad, let's say a TV ad or a billboard for a new car that they really want to purchase. That's where that ultimate stimulus comes in. And then in the olden days, they basically would walk into a dealership, whether it was one or many dealerships. They would talk to a salesperson and gather a majority of the information that way. So that's really where the transfer of information came into play. And then ultimately, the second moment of truth, they would make that purchase. It's really a linear process. There's not much to it. But digital has really gone in and changed all of that. So this is where the ZMOT study, as we call it, zero moment of automotive truth, comes in. So people still have that stimulus. They still see that ad or decide that, okay, it's time for me to get a new car. And now they're doing something much different than they were before. Instead of going into the dealership, they are actually going on the internet and they're researching. They're going on mobile. They're talking to friends on social networks. They're looking up reviews for car ads. As you guys know, reviews are extremely important, and that's just, it continues to become more important, especially as people spend more time on digital before making their car purchase. So buyers are now completely empowered before walking into the dealership, and now when they do that, they're actually more interested in a test drive than finding out information within the dealership space. And really, my boss says it best, but it's a structured way to have informal word of mouth because you're learning from people that you may not know or friends of friends through social networks, whatever it would be. So it's really an informal word of mouth, but it's a very structured way to do it. And that's where the zero moment of truth comes in. So to break that down a little more, so again, we have the car commercial that ultimately gets me excited to make that purchase. Then I would go on, I would do some search for the type of car that I'm looking for, whether it's multiple or one. I would look at what my friends are saying. I'd actually probably post on my Facebook page and say, hey, do you guys drive, let's say a Nissan Altima, for example. What do you think of it? I'm thinking about getting one. I'd go on YouTube and check out test drives, look at user-generated reviews. So a bunch of different things that I would do before stepping into those dealerships. And I might hit 3 or 4 different dealerships just to see what types of prices I can get. But I know what I want to do when I get there, and that's take a test drive. And then ultimately, during that second moment of truth, the purchase is made. So now I bought my car, and what am I going to do with that? I'm going to upload it on Facebook. I'm going to tell my friends about it on G+. I'm going to post about it on Twitter, maybe even write a review if I have a car blog if I'm really interested in cars. But I'm going to tell my social networks, basically. And this is far different than it was in the past. In the past, I would tell a few friends, all right, hey, check out this new car I got, and that could go a long way. But now I have a way to broadcast across the web, across all of my friends, as well as people that can check out my blog, which is really anybody. So this is known as the second moment of truth again, and that becomes the original ZMOT for the next person. So the people that are going to go check out my reviews, see my Facebook posts, which could be their zero moment of truth. And I don't just talk about this stuff. This is actually 100% true. This is a post by me. I'm a little embarrassed that I used the word whip in it, but a post by me in August of 2010. I had just bought a new car, and this is a post on my Twitter account, so Mike_Shea. I used to be much more into Twitter back then. Now it would probably be a Facebook or an Instagram post, but posted the new whip, posted a photo about it, and then my friends could go ahead and interact. So that was my second moment of truth, posting about my new car, which ultimately becomes somebody else's ZMOT. Actually, my best friend ended up buying the same exact car about 6 months later. I still think mine's quite a bit nicer, but very, very similar.
Why is yours nicer?
I have leather seats. I don't think he opted for the leather seats.
Oh, okay. Yeah, leather seats totally make it.
Totally. But yeah, so this is just showing that this is exactly how it works. And this was in 2010. As you can imagine, mobile's on the upswing as well as social media in general. So this continues to happen and becomes more popular for people to do, which I'll actually dive into in just a minute. So what am I going to talk to you guys about today? Overall, I'm going to talk about how social and mobile affect the stages of the auto purchase. So we're going to look at the 3 different stages, which is that initial consideration where the ZMOT comes in, where people are doing their research. And this can really expand from the stimulus down to when they're selecting their dealership. So I'll jump into a few different strategies for both. We have in-market. So this is when they're actually in there shaking sales guys' hands, talking, going for test drives. And then we have post-market, how you take advantage of the reviews that people are writing, make them more positive than they might have been in the past, and take advantage so you create that overall ZMOT for the next person that's going to jump into that initial consideration. So first, very obviously, going to jump into initial considerations. This is going to be post-stimulus as well. This is what I like to refer to as kind of the research section because this is when people are actually finding out that information about their car. Right. So this slide really shows how online content has become as important throughout the car buying process as the dealership. So again, back in when it was just stimulus, dealership, take the car home, dealership was far more important because that's where people were getting their information. These days, a majority of that information, as you can see, is coming at the beginning, but it stays pretty steady throughout. So let me just call out that online section. So again, online and digital research is making a significant impact on the decision process. So you can see about 50% of people's time when they're trying to decide which make they want to go with, they're spending on digital. So they're looking at YouTube videos, they're reading reviews, they're talking to their friends through social networks, and they're finding out which make is best for them. But as they continue to slide down and decide which model they want to go with, and ultimately find that dealer, they're still spending close to or upwards of 1/5 of their time on digital and not really worried about everything else that's going on. But yeah, so digital basically stays very impactful throughout the process. And how can you guys take advantage of that? A couple more stats I'll throw at you is 51% of people read online user-generated reviews when considering different auto brands. So if I'm selecting between 2 to 4 auto brands when I'm buying my first car, 51% of those people are going to look at online user-generated reviews. So these aren't the professional reviews. This stat is actually above how often people look at the professional reviews, just because it is a lot more trustworthy when I know somebody very similar to myself is writing a review. I can read that and find out information from them directly rather than reading something that may have come from a dealership or professional writer. You're not really sure exactly where those reviews came from. So social media is one of the most popular digital outlets for reviews. So you can write reviews on Yelp, you can write reviews on Facebook now, you can write reviews on G+. So very popular places, and social really fits into that overall digital arm rather than being a standalone. Social is going to fit into digital as a whole. And it's one stat that jumps out to me is 57% of people talk more online than they do in real life. So where are they talking? They're talking on review sites. They're talking on
Are you
social
serious?
networks. Yes, 57% of people talk more on social networks and on reviews than they do with people in real life, which is
really
continuing to grow. It's pretty fascinating. All right. So why should you care? Really what it comes down to is trust of other people. So if I became a fan of a dealership's G+ page or a dealership's Facebook page, I'm 92% more likely to recommend that dealership to a friend. And then 90% of people trust their friends. This stat still concerns me a little bit because I don't know who the 10% of people are that don't trust their friends' recommendations. But still, 90% of people, so 9 out of 10 people trust their friends' recommendations, and 92% of people are likely to recommend a page or something that they follow to their friends. So the more fans that you can gain, the more +1s that you can get. Those people are more likely to then recommend, which becomes that kind of zero moment of truth across the board and they see their friend likes a certain dealership, they're more likely to go in there. All right. And this actually came into truth with me when my friend again bought the very similar car that I did, posting my photo from the dealership. So what can you do in this stage to kind of grow excitement? During the initial consideration, you're going to want to promote engagement on digital channels, so you're going to want to grow your fan base. Certainly growing likes isn't the most important thing that you can do on social, but it is still extremely important because it's always nice to have a larger fan base and ultimately reach more people and get more impressions. And then share customer reviews. You're going to want to take those customer reviews, turn them positive, and continue to share them on the social networks and interact with people. So again, dealers are going social. In our experience, dealers are kind of ahead of the curve compared to other what would be considered SMBs in going into the social space, and they understand the importance of those reviews. So again, promote engagement on digital channels. How can you go about doing that? One thing that we see at Wildfire is targeted campaigns, targeted local campaigns do a great job of building engagement. So this is a promotion for a ski pass giveaway done by a dealership. You go onto Facebook, you like the page, and you enter to win a ski pass, which is a local prize because it's going to be local to the dealership. So I have 4 basic best practices that come into play here, where we require the users to like for future engagement. We drive users in store to redeem the prize. So that's actually not on this screenshot that I have here, but basically what you would want to do if you do have if you're giving away a prize through a social network, you're going to want people to come into the dealership. You don't want to ship it to somebody that's a few states away. You want to keep it local, keep your ad targeted local, as well as drive people into the dealership. So they actually have to meet you face-to-face. You can create a conversation, and then if maybe they're not looking for a car now, but they now remember you, they've met you face-to-face, and they're more likely to come back when they are in the middle of that car buying process. You're going to want to tap into communities with the different prizes or themes that you're doing. So this one does a great job of tapping into to people that are in the skiing community, right? So if this was a Colorado dealership, you're going to obviously have a lot of people that like to ski or snowboard, so they're tapping into it that way. Another great one that we saw recently was giving away a test drive for a weekend to go to a NASCAR event. So you're tapping into people that not only want to drive that car, but can go into NASCAR. So now you're making it relevant to your community, and you're getting people more excited to actually come into the dealership and create those relationships. And then lastly, you have to have a call to action. So like the page and enter to win. Make sure that it's a firm call to action, and this just doesn't come into play during promotions, but any messaging that you're doing, you're going to want to tell people to like that message or comment on that message, or they're less likely to do it. One of my favorite things is like for this option and comment for this option. That's one of the best ways to grow engagement, and it's surprising, or I guess not too surprising, but people do listen to those call to actions, so make sure that you're doing that when you're sending out messages on your Facebook, your G+, and your Twitter accounts. So Eliana, we have a stop for a quick poll question.
I think that's a great time. Okay, audience, it's time for you to get involved and answer this question for us. It's on your screen, so turn to your screen and you will check it out. The question is, have you ever run a promotion on a social media network? For instance, on Facebook, on Twitter, on any number of those social media networks. So please select one of the following options. Is it yes, and I do so frequently? Is it yes, but we do it, every once in a while? Yes, but it wasn't very successful. No, but we're thinking about doing it. Or no, I just don't see the value in running a promotion on a social media network. So whatever the answer is for you and your dealership, we want to know. We're going to wait for a majority of the audience to vote, and then we'll close the poll and share the results, and then you can see what everyone else is doing as well. Oh, Mike, the votes are coming in great. Thank you so much, everyone, for getting involved. This is fantastic. I love when you attendees get involved and answer these great questions that our presenters come with. And I know you guys, some of you are writing in and giving me the answers. If you could vote online, that would be much more helpful, but I do appreciate it. And, now we're going to close this poll and share the results. Are you ready for this, Mike?
I am.
All right, so here we go. So, just so as you know, 26% of today's audience said yes, They do run promotions on social media networks, and they do so frequently. There you go.
Okay.
38% said yes, they do it every once in a while. So right there, that's already a majority of today's audience.
That is.
14% said yes, but it wasn't very successful. 21% of today's audience said no, but they're thinking about it. And no one in today's audience said that they don't see the value of running a promotion on social media network. So Mike, there you have it. What do you think?
That's fantastic. That I think that goes back to what I said just a few moments ago, that dealers are ahead of the curve, especially when it comes to SMBs in the social media space. Promotions, well, they're not the only thing that you can do. Obviously, they're a great way to create engagement, get fans excited, and build up those fan bases, which is going to give you a better reach overall. So for the people that didn't see success, there's certainly some best practices and things that you can put into place. I would recommend checking out the Wildfire blog to do so, and I have the link, I believe, at the end to show you that blog. But great to hear that people are using promotions and using them frequently.
Agreed.
Cool.
Thank you, everyone. We're going to have another couple poll questions coming up, too, so sit tight.
Thanks, guys. Okay, let's move forward and keep this thing going. So basically, outside of running that promotion, so now you have people liking the page, you have them interacting with the comments and things that you have. After you ran that promotion, maybe they entered to win that ski pass. Now they're thinking to themselves, all right, I'm ready to go. I remember this dealership. What can I do? What can I do? Or I need to find that dealership. What am I going to do? I'm obviously going to jump on Google and search for where it is if I didn't already look on the Facebook page. So this is where Google Plus really comes into play, and we strongly recommend setting up a Google Plus page and keeping it up to date, because it's going to give you a much better search experience. As you can see, the content on the right, once I'm searching for this Toyota dealership, it's just creating a much more calming and I guess maybe exciting atmosphere. Those kind of don't go hand in hand, but it's telling me, all right, Modesto Toyota, I have the address, I have the phone right there, I see a Google map at the top right, and this makes it a lot more likely that I'm going to click on it and interact with this brand. We have recent posts, so maybe a recent post would catch my eye, an image that you have of one of the cars that I was looking into. I'd click on that, and then I can read reviews. So definitely something that we would recommend based on just overall search. And then what we have here is about 80% of car buyers search online during their buying process. So search, as you guys know, is extremely important. We recommend adding those social annotations, which is going to be just the G+, how many plus ones that you have for that dealership in a social annotation. I'd recommend talking to your service provider for AdWords if you work with one, and that's going to give you a 5 to 10% lift in click-through rate. And then lastly, it really completes the overall search experience due to that G+ page being there. Again, has that important information on the right and making the overall search experience much, much better for the person looking to buy from your auto dealership. All right. And then lastly, this will also enhance what you're doing on mobile. So as you can see on mobile results, let's say I'm driving around, I see a dealership, and I search for it on my mobile device, my Droid device, of course. I'm going to see a much better looking search experience as on the one on the left, and then the one on the right is actually a Local Plus app, which is going to give you a lot more information. You have this Zagat rating tied in as well. But again, you're going to want to stay up to date on search. You're going to want to stay up to date on search on mobile as well, just to create an overall beautiful experience for the customers looking for your dealership through a search method. All right. Next, I'm going to talk about in-market. So this is when users are actually into the dealership. So now I've liked the page, I've interacted with the brand on Facebook, maybe G+ as well. I've searched, I found the dealership online, and now I'm ready to actually go in and visit. And what am I going to do? I'm most likely going to have my mobile phone out. So this is a stat that shows basically what users are doing when they're at a dealership. 51% of people that are shopping for multiple brands are actually taking a picture and sending it to a friend when they're at a dealership, which is pretty pretty impressive to me. Over half of people are actually taking out their mobile phones, keeping them active. I know mine barely fits in my pocket these days, so I have it out most of the time. So I'm taking pictures all the time. If I was shopping for a new car now, I know I would definitely take one, send it to friends, send it to family, upload it on the social networks and say, hey, what do you guys think? This is what I'm thinking about getting. People are still looking at third-party customer reviews. Maybe they get into a dealership, they see a make that they weren't, they see a model that they weren't considering at first, maybe an SUV, a pretty big guy. So maybe I think, okay, if there's an SUV that I should take a look at, I then go on and look at some third-party consumer reviews. Still about half of people are doing that. So it's extremely important to engage people throughout the process on their mobile devices and how you can take advantage of the fact that they already have their mobile out of their pocket. So this is really still in the middle of the ZMOT cycle. This is a place that you guys can engage and keep them interested. Excuse me. So we have socially enabled mobile campaigns to convert shoppers into a digital following. So this is a great way, again, through promotions to engage people using their mobile device. So what we have is mobile promotions drive in-store engagement again. So this is, you could set up a QR code. You could have a Nexus 7 tablet ready to go that's going to allow people to sign in to their social network, click on the like button, as well as engage with your brand on the social network of your choice. From here, we convert shoppers into a digital following. So they're going to click the like button. They're going to click +1 from their mobile device or, again, from a tablet that you may have placed in store, which you're going to be able to continue to message. So once I am a fan of your page, you're going to be able to provide that content and continue to message to me. So let's say I came into the dealership. After doing my research, I visited yours and a couple others, and I get to enter into a promotion for yours and have a chance to win Giants tickets. Being a Patriots fan, this wouldn't be my biggest, my favorite prize, but if I was from the local area, I'm sure it would be.
I was just about to say, that's coming up. I could totally use those tickets.
Exactly. So, yeah, so this is a great way to engage with people. I'm more likely now to come back to your dealership because I had a chance to win this. It was a little more fun for me to do than the typical things that you might see within the dealership. And what this actually gives you guys a chance is to connect more lead data. So you're going to be able to capture names, email addresses, date of birth. We've also seen things like questions asking whether the person wanted to lease or buy or the type of model they're looking for. So you can gather all this data that users are going to have to fill out before entering into that promotion, and then you're going to be able to download that and have that for email lists, be able to call them. You could even do an opt-out, for example, opt-out of a newsletter maybe, or say we have a partner that works with dentists, and what they actually do is an opt-out to have a call. So it says, would you like if this dentist contacted you to set up an appointment? The person, if they keep it checked, the dentist would be able to call them and ultimately set up that appointment, which has shown a lot of great results for that partner and their clients. One thing we would recommend is keeping, or the popular prizes that we do see are things like gas cards, maintenance coupons as well, so you can do 15% off an oil change. So you're already giving me something, I haven't even purchased a car yet, but you're giving me 15% off an oil change. Local event tickets, again, something like a Giants game, really helps you connect with the local community, which is extremely important on social networks. You don't always have to be talking about cars. You can talk about things going on that you think your fans like. You can ask them what they like and find out more to keep them engaged. And then weekend test drives is actually another popular one that we've seen. We actually saw I believe it was a New Jersey dealership give away a $100 gift certificate over Valentine's Day weekend, as well as a Fiat for a weekend. So they were able to drive around have a weekend-long test drive, and then they got to go to a restaurant. So that brought people into the dealership, obviously had them driving the product, and then had them engage with the salespeople and really create that long-lasting relationship with that dealership, so they're more likely to come back when they are ready to make that car purchase. So we're actually going to pause again for a second. We have some prizes, as Eliana mentioned, to give away. So if you guys can go to this link on your browser. Eliana, are you going to shoot it out through the chat as well?
Yes, I am. I'm going to do it right now, actually. Okay, audience, here is the deal. If you go to this address, and you have to make sure that the capital letters are are in there. It has to have capital letters, okay? But you're going to go there, and we are going to, you have to, actually, why don't you say, but just so you know, we're giving away 3 Google t-shirts. But tell them what they have to do once they get there.
So once you get there, it's going to ask for some personal information. It's going to ask first name, email address. I think there might be 1 or 2 questions in there as well. So just fill out that info, click on submit, and I'll gather all that and announce at the end 3 winners. So you guys will be good to go. I'll email you personally and find out the shipping information so we can send you those t-shirts.
This is your chance. So it's goo.gl/EM/EPT. Good luck, everyone.
And these are also, I just want to jump in, these are also mobile optimized, so if anybody would like to test it out on their mobile phone to see what the dealership experience could be like for a user, this is mobile optimized, so feel free to pull out your mobile phone as well.
Hey, Mike, am I eligible? Because I'll do it right now. I don't think I am.
We can send you a shirt.
I give away prizes every week. I never get any. Good luck, everyone. Okay, what's next?
Should I jump forward?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
So we are, okay. So now we're at the post-market section. So after the person has actually made the purchase, they're into the post-market, they're taking pictures of their car, they're extremely excited about the new car smell, and they are still on mobile, they're still on social, they're posting to their friends, they're writing reviews, and this is really how you take advantage of those reviews, because we know, again, how extremely important those are to you guys. So social and mobile makes information instantly accessible, which is a good and bad thing, I believe, for dealerships and for basically anybody that's in the review that cares about reviews. So let's say a restaurant, for example. And it really makes the in-dealership experience much more important, because now if I do have a bad experience, let's say in a dealership, I can upload that immediately to my Facebook page. I can post about it on Twitter. I can tag the dealership if I am a fan of them. And again, mobile is always accessible, so it increases the risk of bad reviews in real time again. So it's really an advantage for the brand and dealer that mobile is extremely accessible, but it's a huge risk for both, based on the fact that if they have a bad experience, they can be likely to post. So this is a great quote. The majority of reviews submitted are 1 star or 5 stars. People are usually motivated when they've had a very good or very bad experience. So the way that again mobile is changing that is the way it used to be. If I went into a dealership, I had a bad experience, let's say with the salesperson. Hopefully none of yours are providing a bad experience, but if I did have one, I'd go home, let's say I talk to my roommates, I'd say, hey, I had this terrible experience. They might tell a few people, but that's really where the word of mouth stops. If I now have a bad experience at a dealership, I can upload that very quickly to my personal social network, or I can post on the page of that dealership, post a review somewhere, and say how bad of an experience that was. On the other hand, it also helps. So if I have a great experience, if I meet a salesperson that's fantastic, I can post that immediately, and now my friends will see that. So you got to take the good with the bad, but it will. You just need to know that it is instantly accessible. So you need to be on top of things and make sure that you're providing a great experience not only in the dealership but across the web as well. So this comes to our last point in post-market, which is going to be prioritize customer happiness and amplify the attachment. So these are actual reviews that were posted on a few of our different partners, dealers' web pages, or sorry, Facebook pages. There's a couple keywords in here that can be tracked, like help, great experience, disappointed, all keywords that we would recommend looking for when scanning those different Facebook pages, user reviews, whatever it would be. You want to respond to these in real time. And this is basically really a can't miss opportunity. So somebody could post something such as they're looking for a car, or if they had a great experience, you want to reward that and keep them happy. Or if, let's say, they had a bad experience, like this one at the bottom here, somebody didn't get their gas filled. You want to be able to go ahead and really put that fire out before it gets any bigger. So what do? You prioritize customer happiness. Uh, excuse me. So the first one is going to be respond quickly and monitor frequently. Uh, Basically, fast responses equal a happier customer, and that's really what you're focused on. You're focused on keeping people happy, keeping people coming back to that dealership, even if they maybe had a bad experience the first time. Try to turn that around to make it a better experience the second time. You're going to want to monitor regularly so you can have those fast responses. And then agencies and partners, they can help with something like that. The Wildfire product actually has a keyword filter, so you can go in, and if there was a word like help or disappointed that showed up, it would email you, so you could be able to see that a lot faster. I'm not sure how all of you are currently managing social and messaging in that, but that's a great way really to be able to monitor it but not have to always have your eyes on it. Number 2 is going to be reward and engage with positive brand advocates. Brand advocates, especially in the dealer world, are extremely important. These are the people that love Toyota, that love Ford, that love Nissan, whatever it is. They're the people that love your brand, and they want to talk about it all the time. They want to comment on your posts. They want to like your posts, and they want to share it with friends. And they're really great at creating that zero moment of truth for other people. They're writing reviews. They're constantly talking about their car and how to make it better, or the new car that they want to buy, or new cars that are coming out, whatever it would be. So you really want to reward these people and continuously engage with them, because they have a lot of friends and they're constantly talking to them, and they're going to really up your overall reach. They're going to up your visibility on the different social networks, and they tend to be extremely brand loyal. Lastly, we have personalized interactions and drive to in-store or digital. So I mentioned this one a little bit, driving in-store. So driving in-store with the prize, but if a person has a bad experience at a dealership, you're going to want to bring them back in so you can ultimately change their view. Maybe have them talk to a different salesperson, or same salesperson, just be a little nicer this time, whatever it would be. Maybe they didn't feel like they had enough help last time, so now somebody can talk to them a lot more. Or, for example, the gas one, you give them a free tank of gas, much easier. Now that person feels a lot better. So personalize those interactions. Even if somebody writes a great review, you're going to want to say, hey, Shannon, thanks so much for the review. Next time you come in, we'll have a few extra donuts out for you, or whatever it would be. But you want to make sure that you're talking to people and making them feel like the dealership is a relationship that they have, rather than just speaking to a brand. A great way to do this is by driving to Google Hangouts. So there's actually a dealership in Boston that is already doing this. They're selling cars via Hangout, and I'm sure there are a few others out there doing it, because, again, dealers seem to be kind of ahead of the curve as far as digital goes. But you can plan scheduled hangouts, so you can talk to people so they don't have to come to the dealership. This is a great way to get people that may be a little further away from your dealer, but so they don't want to take that drive in to get all their questions answered. And then if somebody does ask a question on your Facebook page or your G+ page, you can drive them to a hangout to create that personal experience again and get them talking to that sales rep. So now they have an actual personal relationship, and now they're more likely, again, to come in, or come into the dealership again, or maybe have their maintenance done there, whatever it would be. And then, yeah, that's what I had there. So.
I'd never heard of this dealer that was doing the Hangout, the Google Hangout. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's definitely very cool. Great way to have a personal relationship. Again, it's going to go a long way if it is somebody that had a bad experience, let's say, at the dealership.
Well, guess what, audience? We have another poll question for you, and this one's pretty interesting, so I'd like you to look at your screen and get involved. The question is, how is your dealership currently handling social media? So select one of the following options. Do you do everything in-house? Do you have an outside vendor who does it for you? Do you share the responsibility with an outside vendor? So, you tell them what to post, they post it, but if they think you should get involved, they tell you to do that, and you always post to it too. You know how it is, you share. But what if you're not currently focused on social media? Is that what's going on at your dealership? Or management doesn't see the value in social media, so you are one of those dealerships who really just doesn't do anything with social media. Whatever the answer is, we want to know. Once we get a majority of the votes, we're going to close the poll, share the results, and then Mike is going to tell us what he thinks. Right, Mike? And if you haven't done so yet, this would be a great time for you to take your mobile device and check out that link that I sent out to everyone, which is goo.gl/capital E, little m, capital E, little p, little t, and get yourself a chance to win one of those 3 Google t-shirts. I have to let you know, I have a Google t-shirt. I love that thing. So thank you very much. I actually had to buy it. Okay, so now that we have almost everyone voting, thank you so much for your participation in our poll question. We're going to close this poll and share the result. Mike,
Yes.
38% of today's audience says they do all their social media in-house. 13% said that they have an outside vendor who does it for them. A whopping 45% said that they share the responsibility with an outside vendor. So that's interesting. They don't want to have everything on the outside vendor. They like to have a hand in it. Only 5% of today's audience said that they're not currently focused on social media. And no one on today's audience said that management doesn't see the value in social media. I think everyone now really does see the value in social media. So what do you think, Mike?
I think that's fantastic. I think 45% sharing the responsibility is really the best way to go. Our partners can do a great job with social, but again, for something like a Hangout, for really personalizing those interactions over social media, that is something that you're going to have to take into the dealership and getting people excited. So I think those are all great numbers. 38% in-house. I'd love to know basically how much time that's taking and find out more information there, but that is, I think those numbers are great, and I love to hear that everybody's seeing the value. So.
Yeah, I had a couple people, for instance, Kathy, who wrote in, and she said Ford actually does it for them, but they have a major role in what goes on daily, and they do a lot of it in-house. And then David wrote in, he says it takes a ton of time, and I can imagine it would.
Mm-hmm. Definitely, and that's where I think for the dealer, a partner can come into play, an agency can come into play where they would be able to do a lot of the content in the posts, but the dealer, again, can still make it more of a personal experience by commenting back or again, hosting Hangouts and doing different things on G+.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for getting involved. We have one more poll question coming your way in just a little bit.
Awesome. So let me move forward quickly here. So what we have is, next we want to amplify the attachment and with interactive campaigns. So these are a few different things that you guys can do on on the social networks to get people excited and really take advantage of those reviews. So they're actively writing positive reviews rather than going on when they've had a bad experience. So this is an example actually of a dentist that's asking, would you recommend our practice? This is on a tablet, so they can place this within the waiting room and say, hey, would you recommend our dentist? I know I'm a lot more likely to recommend my dentist if there's a tablet in the waiting room and write something nice about him. I really love him, but I personally would not go on Facebook generally and write that review. But if he rewards me with something like a promotion or has it sitting in the waiting room again, this is a lot more likely for me to do so, and it's most likely going to be a positive experience that I'm writing about. Next is a campaign that is a targeted campaign to your current fan base. So this could be maintenance. This could be something like a gas card. This is actually a Visa gift card, but something that's going to be to the audience that has already made that purchase. Again, coupons for maintenance. This one is that gas card for a local dealer. And then lastly, we have different polls. So we have you're going to want to target brand advocates with these. So this is really use your which model do you like the best, which upload something on Instagram. Instagram is a great way to get people to share photos because that's what they're constantly doing on there. All you have to do is create a custom hashtag, and that's going to be pulled into the Facebook page. And then you have polls as well. So this is where brand advocates are really going to drive the conversation because they're going to be the ones filling out the polls. But then there's that share on your Facebook wall button at the bottom. Then their friends will see that they're interacting with the brand, and then more likely to click on that page and find that content themselves. So again, three different strategies here. One's having recommendations in the dealership on a tablet device. You can run promotions targeted toward people that may have already bought from you or are sending them again into the dealership. And then lastly is having some engaging content like polls, images that they can upload, contests, different photo contests, why do you love your car, stuff like that are great ways to engage with your audience, and especially the brand advocates, the people that are constantly talking about those different cars that you guys have. Okay.
Mike, we had a question from David. He was curious, if you have the device in the waiting room, he wanted to know if it was a problem, if it was coming from the same IP. When you say, to have it in the waiting room, do they have to log in order to get to get involved in that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So they would want to log in and log out of Facebook. So that's one option. There are certainly other options that you could do. For example, having them enter on their own mobile device. But we have had basically the person at the dental office that's waiting there will give it to the next person that comes in. They can log in themselves, so the login screen's already there for them. Then they can enter. They'll hand it back once they're finished. So that's an easy way for kind of the dentist to take advantage of that and control the process by not just leaving it out. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me. David already said thank you, and Sarah wrote in, I think Facebook isn't as picky as Google+. Is that correct?
When it comes to what? Sorry.
When it comes to logging in from the same IP address.
Facebook can be, it will have that login with Facebook button, which makes it pretty simple, but from the same IP address, it can be a very similar experience with Facebook.
Well, I think a lot of our dealers have had problems with their customers posting reviews from the same IP address, because we all thought it was a great idea to have an iPad or something like that, and while the customer's right there in the room, they would give them the iPad and say, okay, write us a great review if you wouldn't mind,
Mm-hmm.
And I think some dealerships have been having problems with that.
Okay, interesting. Good to know. That's where I think mobile could come in, where you have a QR code or just a link very similar to what we had today, and users can have that mobile experience because, as we mentioned, they constantly have their mobile device out. So that could be another way to take advantage of that.
Well, thank you so much for the comments, David and Sarah. Really, really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Okay,
thanks, guys.
where are we going from now?
Cool. So from there, that's really what we had as far as that section goes, and we just have a few quick tips. I'll try to get through those quick so we can have time for questions for G+. And again, we do have a speaker from G+ that's going to be here in a couple of weeks.
That's right. That's right. Audience, put this on your calendar. Thursday, August 8th. Finally, we are going to have a Google Plus webinar. He's only going to talk about Google Plus and Google Plus Local. You definitely do not want to miss it. Somebody from Google, Peter Lito, is bringing in his friend Tommy, who is at Google, and he is the expert. Just like Mike Shea is the guy on social, this guy, Tommy, is the dude when it comes to Google Plus. So we're going to hear right from the guy we need to hear from. That's August 8th. Hope you can make it.
Awesome. So just to get you guys a little bit excited, I will go through. We do have a poll question quickly. I forgot about this.
You forgot about the poll question? Last poll question, audience. So it's on the screen, and we want to know what you think. Are you currently using Google Plus at your dealership? So let us know. Please select one of the following answers. Is it yes, we use Google Plus all the time? Yes, but we use it rarely. Kinda, we set it up but haven't really used it yet. Or no, but we're thinking about it. Or no, I just don't see the benefit just yet. Whatever the answer is, we want to know. Are you using Google Plus at your dealership right now? Once we get a majority of the votes, we're going to close the poll and share the results. And Mike, I'm so excited that you're here talking about social, but I also feel like Google Plus is something that dealerships really need to know about as well. And I'm not so sure that enough of them are using Google Plus, so we're going to find out.
I couldn't agree more. I think this is the question that I'm most excited about.
Okay, so we do have a majority of the votes, and we're going to close this poll, and share the results, and let's see what's going on. 24% of today's audience said yes, they currently use Google Plus and they use it all the time. 24%, that's really good. That's a quarter of the audience. 59% of my very smart and very savvy audience also said, yes, but we use it rarely. 59%. So that's a lot too. 6% of today's audience said, kinda. We set it up but haven't really used it yet. 9% said, no, but we're thinking about it. And 3% said, no, I just don't see the benefit yet. So there you have it, Mike. What do you think?
So pretty good. We were at about 85%, I want to say roughly, that that uses it and may not use it frequently, but uses it a decent amount. So that's good, at least that you're set up on Google+, and hopefully some of these tips will give you a little bit more information. And again, we do have Peter Lidos talking in a few weeks, so I definitely recommend checking out that webinar.
Yeah, and I have to say, when I was talking to Peter about this upcoming webinar, he told me something I did not realize about Google+, which was that it is the second largest social media site in the world right now. It surpassed Twitter in January. I had no idea. So if you're not on Google+, it's time. It's time now. You should be doing it, because you might not be on it, but those customers you're trying to reach definitely are. So
customers are on it, and it comes into play in a lot of places outside of just Google Plus itself, being search and whatnot, which I'll jump into now.
Agreed.
So a quick 8-step playbook. Again, we do have another webinar, so I'm gonna go through these rather quickly. But upgrade your local G+ page for full social. You want to make sure that you have a completely upgraded page, Google+ local page. Make sure everything is completely up to date. You want to create a really great experience for somebody that does stumble across it, because as you know, users are on social and they are going to find it. So make sure that everything's up to date and they have all the right information there. And then lastly, stay active and relevant. You're going to want to post, fairly frequently. It doesn't have to be every single day. That's not required at all, but a couple of times a week to make sure that you're staying relevant, whether it's an image or an update about the dealership or just something from the actual OEM that you guys can post information from that. Number 2 is going to be complete your page profile and claim your custom URL. So again, make sure everything's up to date and complete the profile completely. So you just complete the profile completely. So what you want to do is add the website URL on the Google Plus page so you have a custom URL. As you can see at the bottom one here, Toyota USA looks a lot better than just a bunch of random numbers and makes it seem a lot more legitimate and professional. So I would recommend completely updating it and making sure it's finished so you can claim that custom URL. Number 3, merge your YouTube and G+ identity. So when we're saying this, we're saying make them look very similar. You want to align your YouTube and G+. So people are going on YouTube, they're going on G+, they're getting a very similar experience, which just makes it a better experience overall for that user. And then you have that auto-share YouTube to G+ content. So this is a really easy win. If you're using YouTube, you can auto-share that content to your G+ page, which is going to give relevant information across the board and across your identity on the web. Number 4, add the Google Plus YouTube badges to your website. So you may already have Facebook, you may already have Twitter, the other different types of things that you're using, whether it's Instagram, Foursquare. Add G+, and add YouTube as well. So top publishers drove 38% lift in Google Plus followers after adding the badge just to their website. So people are clicking on it once they're actually on your website and they're starting to follow you. So definitely a recommendation and an easy one. So whoever your service provider is, or if you do your website yourself, definitely add that little badge. And again, talk to your hosting partner if you have one. Engage frequently with rich posts. So people love images. They love videos, and that's what they want to see, especially when in the automotive space. They want to see images of those new cars, old cars. They want to see the different videos that you guys are coming out with, whether it's a personal one that you've made or one that's coming down from you, from the actual OEM. But you'll take that and you'll ask people to comment. You'll ask people to +1, so you're getting them to engage, and you have really rich posts. So it's drawing their eye, and now they want to engage with that. Again, call to action, extremely important. This one is, these are my favorite stats from this top 8 tips, but basically when 25% of American adults are going to post online reviews. So one quarter is definitely posting reviews. When customers received a timely response to a negative review, so if I went on, wrote a negative review, 33% of people posted a positive follow-up. So they've had a bad experience. Now 1/3 of people are posting a positive follow-up if you are able to respond in a timely manner. And then 34% of people actually deleted the original negative reviews. So I went on, I posted a really nasty review, somebody comments, I now am much more likely to post a positive follow-up or actually delete that original negative review, which I think are fantastic stats when you're able to act quickly, respond, and get people to completely change their mind and get rid of that original negative feeling. So you want to participate in a relevant community. I think this is a huge advantage of G+, when it comes to the other social networks, is tapping into communities where people are already talking about cars. Automotive is a huge community as it is. Find your type of dealership, and you're going to be able to now find content for your posts, because you're certainly welcome to sharing other people's content. You can position yourself as an industry expert. So if somebody asks a question, you can actually go into these communities, post about it, or you can get people excited with the information that you're posting, and then you can also learn more about what people want. You can learn the types of features that they want, or just the types of information that they're looking for, so you have that readily available if they do come into the dealership. And then lastly, you can track all your results on the Google Plus dashboard. If you're working with a partner, they may be doing this stuff for you, but you're able to edit your local G+ page from the dashboard, view your insights as well as your local search queries, how those are doing. So everything from within this dashboard is going to become or is extremely helpful to you, and this is actually, I believe, a new feature as well. So definitely check that out if you guys haven't been on G+ in a while. And that is it.
Mike, that was awesome. Thank you so much. Well, we have some great questions coming in from the audience. And when you're ready, I'll just start shooting them out at you.
Let's do it. Should I go to the next?
Yeah. Put up your picture. Let them see who they're talking to. Fantastic. Okay, audience, here we go. We're going to start off with some of your questions. First question comes to us from Ashley, and she says, I've always been told that organic likes on Facebook were always best. Is there value in pushing people who may not be in the dealership demographic to like the page in order to win a prize?
That's a great question. So we would recommend, organic likes are extremely important, right? But they're going to be less common, and you're going to want to grow that fan base so you can get the overall reach. So when I like a page, now 900 plus of my friends will be able to see what I'm interacting with on that page. So it's still extremely important to do promotions that will have people liking the page, even if they're not necessarily within that buying demographic. But one thing to keep in mind is this is where the paid media side of things will come in when running a promotion on a social network. So how you're targeting through paid media will get you more relevant and more qualified fans in the long run. You're not going to want to shoot it out across the U.S. Let's say you have a dealership in California. You can target that promotion to your local area in California through paid media. So people won't automatically find your promotion themselves. That paid media side will do a great job of actually driving people to the promo, and then that earned media, which is sharing and likes and comments, will come into play. And that's most likely friends of people that have already entered. So that's how you make it more targeted. I hope that answers your question.
Ashley, thank you so much for the great question. Mike, you're on a roll, babe. Okay, next question actually comes to us from Mike, and he says, can you address the problems that dealers are currently having with Yelp and positive reviews disappearing from their site? Now, Mike, I don't know if you've heard about this problem, but a lot of dealers are having this issue. And I don't know if you can even comment on it. Is that something that you know about?
I unfortunately don't know too much about Yelp at Wildfire. Yelp is not one of the social networks that we really touch upon.
Right.
I would, so I unfortunately wouldn't be able to respond to that.
Okay, Mike, I'll tell you what, not Mike Shea,
Different Mike, other
Mike, the one who asked the question.
Apologies, Mike. Yes.
You know what? We're just going to keep our ears open, and maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe this webinar on August 8th, they might know more. You know who I do have for you, Mike, is on July 25th, Thursday, July 25th. I have Heather McKinnon, and she is with DealerRater, and she's going to be talking about how to boost customer reviews. So if anyone knows about customer reviews and what's going on when it comes to dealers, it's going to be her. So hopefully you can make that July 25th webinar, and we can ask Heather and see what we have going on and see if we can help you out. Now let's move on to this next question, again from Ashley. She had a follow-up question, and it is about reviews. And she says, in regard to reviews, is it advantageous to push customers to write reviews on DealerRater, or are the other platforms where reviews are better served? So is DealerRater the best place that people should be going, or should we be putting them someplace else, or should we be asking them to post everywhere for us?
Yeah, I would, people are going to go to the sites that they find most interesting, right? So social media, for me, is one place that I would go because I'm so enthralled with it. So you're going to have people that are going to post on the sites that they want to go to, and you're going to have people searching for those sites. So I would say definitely keep people on DealerRater, but you're going to also want to push people to the different social networks because that's where other people will come into play. So you have this overall integrated marketing package, and social is just a piece of that, and so are these dealer review sites. But people are looking at all of these different places, and you are going to want to track and stay on top of these things because eyes will ultimately be there. It just matters which piece, I guess, is most important to you, where you want to drive people. I, again, recommend social, but there are certainly other pieces that are going to play into that.
Right. And already wrote in and said thank you, and some people are commenting they think Cars.com is doing pretty good because of the recent TV ad campaign, and other people think that you're doing it right and it should really be on DealerRater. So everyone has an opinion. Wish you the best of luck on that one, Ashley. Next question comes to us from Jordan. Jordan asked this question when we were talking about Google+. And Jordan said, we originally made a personal account when Google Plus first came out. Because you remember, Mike, Google Plus came out, and the only thing you could do was make a personal account. You couldn't make a business account yet, right? Mm-hmm. He says, now we're confused on how to convert to a business page, and we're scared to delete the personal account in case analytics, AdWords, YouTube, etc. go out the window also. Do you have any advice for Jordan, or should we ask Jordan to make sure to be in attendance on August 8th?
Yeah, I would recommend being in attendance on August 8th. I apologize, Jordan, but as far as I know, a personal page won't be able to get those boost that search lift like what I talked about earlier. So I would recommend switching over to an actual professional page. You may be able to talk to somebody at Google that can convert that for you, but that's not something that I would be able to answer.
Jordan, I'm looking forward to seeing you on August 8th, my friend. Thank you so much for that. I have another Google Plus question for you. This one comes from David. He wants to know, can you set up Google Analytics on Google Plus?
Yes. You can set up, you have the Google Plus dashboard, which is going to track those analytics for you.
Ah, beautiful, beautiful. And Jordan already wrote in and said, see you then. So looks like we have at least one person who's going to be there.
I'm sure you'll have fun.
I know. Well, thank you very much for the question, David. Okay, this one comes from Kelly. Oh, Kelly, I'm so glad to see you on the show. She says, how does Google feel about social buttons on a dealer's page? I personally only have them on pages after the customer submits a lead. Why send them somewhere to forget about us and buying a car before they send in the lead, right? After doing so, sure, tweet, face, pin me. But should it be on every page or just the ones after the customer submits a lead? What do you think, Mike? What would you say to Kelly?
I would definitely say that you can have it on every page. I understand where you're coming from, where you could have a disadvantage there. But if you're keeping an overall united feel on your Facebook, let's say, or your G+, and you're getting people to click on it, that's what they prefer. So I would prefer viewing, let's say, on a G+ page, and now I'm going to +1 and follow, and now you have a chance to continuously message and interact and engage with those people rather than just their website. So if they're on your website and they pop off, that's where the engagement ends, right? But with social, if they click on that link, that's going to take them to the Facebook page. They click like, you continuously engage. So I would say don't look at it as a negative thing that they can now jump off to the site that they would prefer viewing your information on.
Thank you so much for the great question, Kelly. I hope that helped you out. And Mike, we're going to wrap up in just another minute. I want to tell Mary, you know what? Because the webinar is more than 3 weeks away, it's not posted yet on dealeron.com/webinar, but it will be very shortly. And once it is, of course, you can register by going to dealeron.com/webinar, and you'll be able to see the next 3 webinars that we have coming up, and that one will definitely be there, and you can register right from there. And Lenny wrote in and said, thank you, Mike, for the informative webinar. Great job. And Kelly just wrote back in. She says, thanks. So a limited but engaging link sounds like a great idea. So she likes your idea. Okay. And then let's get to this last couple of questions. Eric wrote in. Hi, Eric. Good to see you here. He says, will there ever be a way to link a YouTube channel to a business page instead of a G+ profile? I don't even know if you can answer that. I got news for you. Google is a very large company, and they don't tell everyone everything that's going on.
Google also doesn't like to speak to what's coming ahead. So we wait to see what's coming. Again, Peter Leto in 3 weeks may have more information on that front.
You know what? You're absolutely right. Eric, great question, and let's just cross our fingers and hope that we'll be able to do that someday. Last question comes to us from Mick, and he says, what's the best way to get customers to place reviews on Google or Google Plus that don't even have a Google account? Mike, there are people out there, I know it's surprising, it's shocking, it's subversive, but there are people out there who don't have a Google account. What do we do about those crazy people who live in the wild?
That's a tough question to answer. If they don't have a Google Plus account, I don't think it's going to be possible for them to go ahead and comment on a page. So they would need to create one. So that's, again, I think where the other networks come in. Google, well, it is preferred by many. It's not going to be preferred by all. So you can't push everybody to put recommendations. You can push the amount of people that will have those accounts. But again, that's where the dealer rater, the cars.com, it sounds like, as well can come into play. So you have people that are going to want to post there as well as the different social networks that they prefer. So you don't want to take people out of their comfort zone and make them do things that they don't want to do on social networks or websites that they don't prefer. So focus on the ones that do prefer those websites, because I'm going to go for my content on G+, while somebody else may prefer Twitter, which I don't really look at anymore. So really engage people within those communities that want to be in those communities. Don't force them to join communities that they don't want to be in.
Yeah, Mick, I totally understand. I mean, I have to say, I know people who are all about Facebook, and I know an equal amount of people who are all about Twitter, and I know an even greater amount who are all about G+. So I totally understand where you're coming from. It's a tricky one, but Mick, I hope that helped you out. And Mike, thank you. That was a very, very fantastic presentation. It was filled with lots of great advice and stunning statistics, and we really, really appreciate you being here. And I hope sometime in the future I'll get you back here again and you can talk to me some more about new stuff that's happening at Google too. Definitely. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So we're just past the top of the hour, and any questions that weren't answered during the time allotted are going to be answered by email later today. And of course, I got to remind the entire audience that a link to download a copy of this webinar recording is also going to be emailed to you later today for your reference. So feel free to share it with friends and colleagues. There's great stuff today. And today's webinar is also going to be posted online very, very shortly. So all you have to do is go to dealeron.com/webinars. And yeah, you can view our upcoming webinar schedule, but you can also access any of our past webinars too. There's a link there for on-demand webinars. Very, very easy to find. Also, this webinar is going to close in just another minute, and you're going to receive a short survey. So fill it out, please. We're always looking for great feedback from our audience, and let Mike know what a great job he did today. And we're going to also be picking out a couple of the people from all the completed surveys to also win some more Google prizes. So I hope you'll get involved and let us know about that. And invitations will be going out on Friday for our next webinar. It's going to be a good one. It's how to finally take control of your LTV. Yeah, I know. So, you know, in the automotive world, a lot of dealerships use LTV as a metric to calculate or determine the success of their, you know, online sales, their website, their, you know, all that stuff, their program. So what if I told you that LTV ratio was totally wrong? The shocking fact is that LTV is actually a formula for success. It's not a success metric. Well, how can that be? I'll tell you what, Jason Ezell, he's the president of Dadium, and that's the only company that studies metrics from dealerships all over the U.S. all day, every day. He's ready to tell you that LTV is too small a number to measure success. It's got to be broken down into separate metrics to really understand what is causing a low LTV, and this breakdown will then highlight exactly what to focus on to raise your LTV. So, some of the items that we're going to discuss during this 1-hour webinar is going to include the entire formula to achieve a high LTV, the 4 major pitfalls that lead to low LTV, and analyzing the major effects on LTV. So, if you're ready to finally take control of your LTV, then this is the webinar you just can't afford to miss. It's going to be another fabulous presentation by your friends at Dealeron. And don't forget, Dealeron's weekly webinars are held every Thursday, except for today, of course, at 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And this webinar will not be held on a Wednesday. It is going to be held on a Thursday. So Thursday, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And we have some great webinar subjects planned for the rest of this year. But if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding these webinars and our topics, then please feel free to contact me directly. My name is Eliana Raggio. I love hearing from you. You can email me at eliana@dealeron.com or track me down online. I am on all the automotive social networks. Thank you all so very much for spending this time with us today, and I hope to see you all on a future webinar in our continuing education series. Have yourselves a good one, and everyone, please have a happy and very safe 4th of July holiday week. Take care. Bye-bye.